Hey guys, it's Kevin, and I know a lot of you are probably really upset that I did not get to do a live stream of the Emmys, but unfortunately, I just did not really have the time or really desire to do so. But I figured, it is something I did want to talk about, so I will be giving you my reactions to pretty much everything that happened throughout the night, which I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm honestly happy I decided not to watch this live because this was honestly a really bad ceremony. It wasn't just that it was boring. It wasn't just that it was overlong. It was honestly really badly put together. I thought it was extremely choppy. I thought it was extremely rushed. I thought it was extremely pandering. And honestly, at points, pretty offensive and just in general, I was not a fan of it at all. It's probably one of the worst award shows I have seen in recent memory, and they really dropped the ball on this one, but we're just going to get into it right now. Let's just talk about the opening scene, because a lot of people are talking about this opening, song that they did. I was not a fan of this at all, this whole "we solved it" bullshit. Basically, the theme of the Emmys this year is that, oh, we don't have to worry about the whole, color, people who are black being marginalized or minorities being marginalized because now they are in fact nominated and we don't have to worry about that anymore. And here's the thing. When you if you bring it up once, that's fine. Like, obviously, yes, it's really cool that Sandra Oh was the first Asian American to be nominated. I think it's crazy that it's taken this long for that to happen, but it's really cool that she was up there. Congratulations to her. I think it's very deserving. But when you keep harping on it and making a huge issue out of it, you are being just as racist. You are being just as bad because that's all you care about. You don't care about the performer. You just care that someone who is black wins. You just care that someone who is Asian wins. And that's not at all what you should care about. You should care about them giving it to the talent that truly deserves it. You should care about them wanting to give that award to someone who really gave that great performance. And look, I'm not saying that there are some great ones out there. The people from Atlanta are fantastic. I'm very happy they got nominated. The Killing, like I said, Sandra Oh, very happy she got nominated. Lots of actors who are, colored or something like that. I'm very happy that they got nominated, but I just don't think we needed to keep harping on this. This was the only thing they kept talking about throughout the entire show, and it really got annoying after a while, especially when the entire opening musical number is centered around this one issue. It honestly did get really annoying. The only part I like is when Jimmy Fallon came out and talked about it. He was like the one white guy singing. I thought that was pretty funny. Everything else was just kind of pandering. It got really tiresome after a while, and I just really wasn't a fan of it at all. Again, no disrespect to those people who are nominated. I think they very much do deserve it, but I don't know why we had to keep making such an issue out of this. I have not seen this issue come up since like the Oscars in 2016, and I thought that was bad enough. That's nothing compared to this. I thought they made such a big deal out of this to the point where it honestly became such a non-issue after a while, and I just really wasn't a fan of this at all. However, that's nothing compared to the two hosts of the evening. The two hosts of the evening, I was honestly very skeptical about. I did not recognize either of their names, and after tonight, I don't think we're going to be seeing, after the show, I don't think we're going to be seeing them again. You had Colin Jost and Michael Che, and neither one of them, I thought, delivered. I will say I thought Michael Che was just a little bit better with some of his charisma, but these two, basically, it was just one long Saturday Night Live weekend update. I know a lot of people have said that, but it didn't feel like they were at an award show. It didn't feel like they were really hosts there. A lot of times it felt like they were making fun of it. A lot of times it felt like they were just focusing on the negative aspects of things. They briefly touch upon the fact that there are people getting nominated, but they rarely ever said anything positive. It was all just negativity, and it was honestly really hard to watch at points. They had so many awful jokes. To me, it just seemed like, how relevant can we be? How offensive can we be? It didn't really seem like they cared about being funny. They just cared about bringing up relevant topics that honestly so many people have covered up to this point that it's just become really tiresome. They didn't really do anything original. They didn't do anything really all that funny. The the people that were in the audience themselves didn't even really seem like they were all that into it, and I really don't blame them because, like I said, I just didn't find any of their shtick funny. There was one bit with Michael Che that I liked. I liked the bit where he was going around to, older actresses or older actors that happen to be black and giving them, their awards and things like that. That was funny. I did enjoy that, but a lot of it I found just really was going on and on. Any time that they came back, they didn't even seem like they could tell that we weren't really liking them. Like the way that Colin Jost would be like, well, we're back. Not, we're back. No, we're back. Like, he didn't really seem like he was into it at all. I just really was not a fan of these two. I thought that they really just had nothing really to work with, and they didn't really give me anything. And it's probably, to me, it just seemed like they were last minute choices. Like, they just happened to be there, and they just chose them. And they could have made fun of that, but no, we had to focus on this, let's focus on minorities that haven't been nominated before, which honestly really did backfire for them in the end, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. But like I said, they did not work for me at all. Not a fan of them. They were boring, they were extremely unfunny, and I really hope they don't come back next year. The irony, though, is that the winners of most of the Emmys weren't people who were minorities. They were mostly Caucasian. And look, I would not have a problem with that if they didn't make such a big deal out of it. They made it such a blanket statement that it honestly became really just uninteresting and boring, especially because, again, they just kept harping on the fact that they were doing that the people that won, they didn't even seem like they were happy about. They didn't even seem like they were appreciative of, and it honestly just came off really condescending, and I think that's the main reason why this entire show just felt really off to me. It just didn't really feel like anyone was really all that into it, and look, I'm really happy with some of the winners. Some of them I thought were really surprising, especially, some of the ones were pretty obvious. Like, I knew Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was going to win a lot of stuff, and good. I'm glad they did. That was such a big hit for Amazon. It was the show that came out at the right time that they really needed, and I'm glad that they did, in fact, end up winning those. I knew for sure that, certain things were definitely going to get it. Like, I expected Saturday Night Live to get some stuff, and obviously, yes, it did, because, Lorne Michaels directed a bunch of stuff. And there were honestly a lot of surprises with some of the major categories as well. Like, Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series was Regina King in 7 Seconds, which I really didn't hear anybody talk about that show, so that was interesting. Very happy for her. Regina King is a phenomenal actress, and I'm very happy to see her win that, but I thought for sure that was going to go to Laura Dern or Jessica Biel or even Michelle Dockery, since, like I said, Godless was winning a lot of stuff, but no, Regina King ended up getting it. Very good speech from her. You could tell she was pretty floored about the whole thing, and I really don't blame her, because like I said, I don't think anyone really expected for that outcome, but, good for her. Glad that she did win that one. Outstanding Supporting Actor and Outstanding Supporting Actress, nothing really surprising there. Barry did get a lot of the stuff for comedy in terms of the actor and supporting actor. Bill Hader for actor, and then supporting actor for Henry Winkler, which I was really happy to see Henry Winkler win. That was definitely something that I really did enjoy. I never knew that he didn't get an Emmy. It's one of those actors where you just kind of expected that he did, and no, he never did. Like, the Fonz is such an iconic character, yet Henry Winkler never received an Emmy for that performance, which I find very interesting. So to see him win after all these years, I was very happy about it. I thought it was a really great speech, and I definitely really enjoyed that overall. I also was very happy to see the stuff that the Americans won. They didn't win a ton of things, but they won more than I expected. First of all, I did not expect them to win Outstanding Writing, but they did. And not only did they win it, they won it for the series finale, mind you, which was just incredible to see. I was so happy that they did that. I think it was so deserving. And to see Matthew Rhys win for Best Actor was honestly just such an amazing moment. Again, the Americans in the show that has not gotten nearly as much acclaim as I think it really has. The people that love it really do love it, but it never really got that fan base that I think it really did deserve. So to see Matthew Rhys one was fantastic. I loved his speech when he was talking about how Kerry Russell didn't want him to propose, which, don't worry, I'll get to that moment very soon, because that's definitely something I do want to talk about. but I thought that was just a really fun moment overall, really great win for him. However, it's not the one they needed. As good as Matthew Reeves was this season, Kerry Russell was the one who really needed it, and unfortunately, Claire Foy ended up taking it. Look, fantastic on The Crown. Of what I've seen from her, she's so good on that show, very well deserving, but I just really thought Kerry Russell would have taken this one. It seemed fairly obvious that, Matthew Reeves won, Kerry Russell was going to get lead actress, but no, she unfortunately did not get that, and I think that's the one that they really, really needed, and the fact that she didn't win, I was pretty upset about that. I thought for sure that she would get it. This really was Elizabeth's season, even though Philip had stuff to do, it very much was centered on Elizabeth, and the fact that she didn't win, I was just really surprised about it. I thought for sure that she was a shoo-in. I didn't think there was really any other option whatsoever, but didn't happen. It went to Claire Foy. Good speech from her. Definitely happy that she won, but, just not something that I was expecting. Also, going back to supporting actress, I also was a little bit upset that Betty Gilpin didn't win for Glow, but she probably will win next year, hopefully. Hopefully she does end up pulling out that win, but we'll just see what happens there. In terms of the other major categories, there wasn't really anything all that surprising. Supporting actress in a drama series, Tandy Newton ended up getting, which that kind of came out of left field. I definitely was not expecting that. Maeve is one of my favorite characters on Westworld, and I think Newton is definitely one of the standouts, but I was not expecting her to, to win for that. I thought for sure it'd be Ann Dowd again, but no, it went to Tandy Newton. Supporting actor was Peter Dinklage, which was very surprising to me. I don't think that he was one of the standouts of last season. Tyrion's always a great character, but I didn't really see him as one of the standouts last season, but it was really cool to see him win regardless. I really did like seeing Peter Dinklage win for this. I really did like his speech overall. I didn't think he was going to get it. I thought for sure it would go to Matt Smith, but no, it did go to Peter Dinklage, which again, good win overall, definitely deserving. And that's the thing, like, sure, the people that won were not what I expected, but almost everyone, I think, was deserving of it. I don't really think anyone won that wasn't deserving. Like, I definitely was happy with the winners overall. In terms of the big categories, again, there were a couple upsets there. Outstanding drama, Game of Thrones ended up taking this. Now, I was happy for them, obviously, but I thought for sure they would wait till next year because it's the last season. I'm hoping this doesn't mean the next season that, they won't win, because I noticed the Emmys don't like to not have the same thing win, like, 2 years in a row. I thought for sure this was going to go to the Americans because it's their last season, or maybe even The Crown, but no, it went to Game of Thrones, so good for them, I guess. And then outstanding comedy, like I said, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, not surprising about that one at all. Overall, what I liked about these winners is that there wasn't really a lot of consistency. The most consistency was Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but even at that, they won only like 5 things, and a lot of the drama, there wasn't a lot for the drama winners, weren't a lot of, there wasn't like one show dominating everything, and I think it's the first time I've seen something like that in terms of the Emmys in quite a while, and that was definitely pretty cool to see. But of course, I do want to talk about the big things going on, which, of course, the biggest one of all actually weren't any of the winners, but of course, the best director for, I believe it was a variety or program. Of course, it went to the director of the Oscars, which, okay, I mean, I think the reason they gave it to him is because the Oscars ran a lot smoother this year, and probably coming off the heels of last year's fiasco, they probably wanted to do that as a way to kind of alleviate some of that stress. And I do think that the fact that, it turned out as well as it did, he should definitely get consideration for that. But the Oscars really was not all that great this year. So, okay. But the best part of that, of course, is when he did, in fact, end up proposing to his wife live on the show. I've truly never seen anything like that before, proposing to his, soon-to-be wife, live on the show, and I thought that was a very good sequence. I really did enjoy that overall. It was a really nice, wholesome thing that he did, and again, with the show that was so negative and so trying to be so PC and pandering to everyone, this was a really nice moment, and I did really enjoy that overall. And I do think it definitely, for most people, I will collectively agree that it definitely was one of the highlights of this less than stellar show. But going back to the negative stuff, like I said, this show in general was just kind of a disaster. I mean, aside from the hosts, which, like I said, were less than stellar, there were so many things that didn't work. The Fred Armisen and Maya Rudolph gag, it could have worked. It really could have. The idea that there are these two people who they appoint and they don't know anything of what they're talking about with the Emmys, this definitely could have worked. It just wasn't really all that funny. I'm currently watching a show with Maya Rudolph and Fred Armisen called Forever, and this just made me want to watch that. It just made me want to watch an episode of Forever because they do work very well together, but just here, there wasn't really anything for them to do, so that didn't really work out at all. Like I said, a lot of the gags I thought grew very tiresome. There were some presenters that I really enjoyed, but that being said, the way they handled the presenters was especially weird. They did this thing where they would have an announcer give all the nominations and like rapid fire too. Like they would show like maybe like a 3-second clip and then it would just go to the next one, and then he'd be like, all right, here are the presenters to give the award, and at that point, it's like, what are even the point of having presenters if you're just going to have someone else announce them? Like, isn't even the point of presenters that they're supposed to give the nominations and the winners? I don't know, I haven't really seen something that before. To me, it seemed like they were so overly concerned with the show running too long that they tried to rush everything, and it very much came off the way. Everything felt very rushed, everything felt very fragmented, and it just wasn't very well put together. A lot of the presenters' jokes really fell kind of flat. There were some I did enjoy here and there, but a lot of the time, the comedic timing was very much off. I wasn't really enjoying myself all that much watching it. It was mainly just because of the winners. Like, the winners I was happy about, and there definitely were some really good speeches there, but just overall, this was a very oddly put together show with two hosts that really did not seem like they knew what they were doing. They were not professional at all. At points, it just seemed like they were coming off as, oh, these people didn't win, so now we're going to be bitter about it. It just did not work at all. The timing was off. The editing was very strange. Even the audience, like I said, they did not really seem like they were all that into it. The only time they seemed like they were into it were some of the winners and when the guy from the Oscars proposed, which, I mean, that was an amazing moment. But other than that, it's really just some of its parts. Like, the whole is not nearly as good as the sum of its parts. I thought the show was incredibly lazy. It was incredibly slow. And even though they wanted to, you know, rush everything, it still went over like a minute, so even that didn't work out. So in general, I think this is probably one of the worst award shows I've seen in recent memory. It was very badly put together. It definitely showed in the ratings, which they also made fun of, mind you, which isn't funny. It just makes you come across as desperate. It really was not funny at all that they kept joking about that. But it definitely did show, because this was the lowest rated Emmys in years, and honestly, I'm not too surprised about that. I did not really see much I did not really see much hype behind it. I didn't really see a lot of people talking about it. Just in general, this was kind of just a very throwaway, forgettable show that honestly really did piss me off. I usually do enjoy award shows. I do. I enjoy award shows a lot. I know especially this year I've come off as very negative, but they really have not been that good this year. They felt either very lazy, very slow, or really badly put together, like this one. And this easily is the worst offense of them all. What I want in an award show, I want a night where you can kind of take a break from the stresses of the world, you know, I honor the, winners in TV that truly do deserve it. There's a lot of great TV out there right now, so let's try to honor it. Not just focus on this one issue that really is not that much of an issue anymore. I don't know why they had to keep bringing it up every 5 seconds. It was extremely political in that sense. There weren't tons, like, at least there weren't tons of, like, allegations and things like that. Like, they did that in the Golden Globes, and I think that did work overall. The difference is with that, they did take that seriously, and the nominations really did go, the winners really did correlate with that. Here, not the case at all. It just came off as very flat and didn't really appeal to me at all. Just in general, like, I want to see a night that's a lot of fun. I want to see presenters that really like what they're doing. I want to see hosts that really do love TV, and we just have not been getting that recently. I just have not been that into these award shows. The Emmys, like I said, is easily the worst one of them all this year. But either way, guys, that's really it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of this year's Emmys overall. Left your thoughts in it. Again, I'm sorry if I came off negative, but I did not enjoy this. I really was not a fan of this at all. It just really, they really did drop the ball on this one, as I said, but that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in my next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.